Hey guys, behind me is one of my favorite parts of my garden, which is my raised garden beds. So I installed these two first and then I added these two, and I was thinking this summer it might be fun to add two more because we've got kind of this tiered yard here, and really the majority of our grass space is like this portion where my dog plays. And so I think it would be fun to add a third one kind of down the way. I am planning on reinstalling my trellises, so I'll have a trellis here with the clematis that I planted and snap peas. Snap peas did really well on these trellises last year. We all enjoyed it. And then I'll do a second trellis back here on this bed, so it'll kind of pull you through and wrap you around to the backside of the yard. So it is raining out today, but just because it is drizzling doesn't mean that we can't plant some seeds, because then you just basically don't have to water them in. So rain is on the forecast for the next couple of days as well. And I thought we would plant some of our hardy varieties of greens. And I had almost an entire bed of greens last year, and we used them every single week. I would come out here every night before dinner and cut a whole bunch of them, throw them in the colander, rinse them off, and eat them for dinner. And they were just so delicious. And I had a bunch of different varieties. I did do some planting every few weeks throughout the summer, which was really helpful to kind of extend my growing season and to constantly having fresh greens pop up. So this year I plan to do the same thing. Every like 2 to 4 weeks, I'll plant another batch of greens. So today I thought we'd plant two different varieties of lettuce, a regular green lettuce and then a butter lettuce. I thought we'd do two different varieties of kale. We've got, oh my God, I have no idea how to pronounce this. Lacinato kale, and white Russian kale. And then we'll do some spinach. I have the Noble Giant here, and then some Swiss chard ruby red. So this is just a good mix of different greens, and this is just honestly the perfect salad. Some kale, some butter lettuce chopped up with some spinach. I mean, what more could you really want? The other thing I want to get started on is planting some root vegetables, so my beets and carrots and all those types of things, radishes as well. And I think I'm going to put those in this garden bed this year. So this is going to be the greens bed for the summertime. And who knows, it might expand or contract or whatever, but we'll just start with this bed. So since we're going to be doing some consistent planting every 2 to 4 weeks, I'm not going to fill the entire thing with seeds. I'm probably going to do the first third of it in greens today, and then we'll leave the final 2/3 for later planting. So let's get started. So we've got our Swiss chard, spinach, kale, and lettuce. So we'll do a couple rows of lettuce, couple rows of kale, some rows of spinach, and then lastly our Swiss chard. And I think I'm going to do the rows horizontally, kind of perpendicular to the length of the bed this year. First step is just to obviously rough up our soil, get rid of anything that's not good, like this chunk of whatever. Try not to ruin my clematis start, which looks to be kind of suffering in this winter weather that we're having this spring. But I'm not going to lose hope. Okay, so now that we've roughed it up, I don't like to cover my seeds too much. The soil feels nice and damp. Honestly, I kind of just treat them all the same. I've had really good success planting spinach, kale, and lettuce last year, the past couple of years. So we'll just get started. 2 rows of Buttercrunch. I plant all of my seeds pretty heavily. Light dusting over with soil so that they're not going to be eaten by the birds. Okay, and then let's do a couple rows of kale here. We'll do 3 rows of kale. Just kind of gently toss in your seeds. Doesn't have to be perfect. We'll do 1.5 rows of this kale. Perfect. Leave some for our next session. This is the white Russian. Finish off this row. There we go. And then gently cover these up. Okay. Spinach. We'll do 2 or 3 rows of spinach. We've got the Noble Giant variety here. Cool looking seeds. Cover these up gently. And lastly, we'll do some Swiss chard. Cover these up. And there we go. Okay, it definitely started to rain some more, but I got the project done. You can see here in this first bed, I got a little bit over just about halfway through the bed planted. And so we did butter lettuce, then we did a couple rows of kale, followed by a couple rows of spinach, and lastly, a couple rows of Swiss chard. So the second half of this bed, we will use that as the season goes on, which will be really fun. I'm going to use this first bed right up against the side of our house as our root vegetables. So in there will be our radish, our carrots, our beets, things like that. This bed will be a mixture of different things, including some herbs. Right now we've got some chives growing from last year and some thyme. And then lastly, in the garden bed right here, we've got in the front portion right here, we've got shallots, followed by 3 different varieties of garlic. So I am really excited to see this whole garden bed start to come together. Thanks for watching along as I plant our first batch of greens for the year, and we'll see you later.